No Jinx on a Wednesday. We'll give you our season award predictions. Who's going to win MVP? Could Nikola Jokic go for a fourth most valuable player award? We're going to talk about which team wins the 2024-25 NBA title. And it's time. We're going to start previewing the first game of the season, OKC versus Denver on Thursday night. It's that time of the year, folks. The season is back. This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making this part of your day, being with us, joining us, being part of this community. Appreciate you guys being with us. Today's show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. On today's show, we're going to preview the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Denver Nuggets in the first game of the Nuggets 2024-25 season. We'll talk about the matchups and break down this titanic battle in the Western Conference. We're going to talk about which team's going to win the NBA title, just straight up, like who's going to win this thing. And I'm going to give you my reasons why I'm picking. Well, you have to wait on that. And we're going to get to our awards today as well. We're going to start there. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I am also the new host of Locked On NBA Daily. There's a new daily show that has been coming from Locked On NBA. You're still going to have the night shows that recap every single game on Locked On NBA, but I'm going to be part of a new show every day, breaking down the biggest topics in the NBA, talking about what I've heard on the trade market from the various slop sources that we got. We're going to debate the biggest issues of the day. If you want to hear my takes on more about general NBA and not betting stuff, since I do that over at Buckets, but just more stuff on the NBA, make sure to check out our new show. It's me, Doug Branson, and Hayes. You can check that out on the Locked On NBA channel. All right, Ryan Black.
By the way, they're basically describing this thing as Around the Horn, or basically the equivalent of Around the Horn in the middle of the day. So if you're interested in a show that's like that, that just kind of pops around to a whole bunch of different topics, and it has a lot of fun doing it. It'll be fun. It'll be great.
It's fitting because I'm old and bald, like Kornheiser.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, I also want to tell you, we have a newsletter. We have a newsletter now. You can get it at lockedondaily.com. Just scroll down. There's a way for you to click through to find the team. Just click on Locked On Nuggets. You're not only going to get weekly stories, daily stories from Katie Heindel, Mike Shearer, who's basketball poetry, who I think is awesome. You're going to get exclusive content on there. Ryan is writing exclusively for the newsletter. I'm writing exclusively for the newsletter. Sometimes it's going to be recaps of the pods, but a lot of the time it's going to be actually fresh content. I'm going to be right after every home game. After every home game, I'm going to be writing on this newsletter. So if you don't want to check it out, go to lockedondaily.com and subscribe to the Locked On Nuggets newsletter. All right, that was a lot of news. That was a lot of stuff. Let's get to it, man. What award do you want to start with? We're going to do awards. What do you want to start with for the 2024-25 predictions?
Yeah, there's plenty of things that we could obviously get into. Let's just start at the top with MVP. I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the award this year. That shouldn't really come to much of a surprise for anybody that thinks that the Thunder are going to win 60 games. I think that SGA is tremendous. He's also clearly the best player on that team. And although I know a lot of Nuggets fans are going to want to see Jokic win the award, I honestly think it would be better for Denver if he doesn't. We've seen Denver win a title when Nikola Jokic doesn't win the MVP over the course of the last 4 years. And I think there was a reason for that. So I've got Shai.
I'm taking Luka Doncic. So Luka is going to have the counting stats, and I've got the Mavericks predicted for 55 wins. And if I have the Mavericks predicted for 55 wins, then Luka Doncic is going to win MVP. Even if Shai wins 58, 59, even 60, if Luka gets to 55 with his counting stats, he's going to win it. He's been the favorite for 3 seasons in a row. And there's a reason for that, not only because of how good he is and how amazing he is. The voters love him. They love him. They want to give him this award. They just need the team to be good enough. I think they'll be good enough this season. I'm going to take Luka Doncic, who Nikola Jokic calls a one-man army, to win MVP this season. He finally gets it done. It's boring. He's the favorite, but I really do think this is going to be it. Ryan, I think there's a possibility that he leads the league in points and assists.
Yeah, that's a tremendous number. And I think the last person to do it wasn't Oscar Robertson, was it? It might have been even a little bit earlier than that. It's just a very crazy number to even fathom. at this point, and the way that he plays, the way that he dominates the ball, but also just makes it efficient with the shots that he does take. It does. I think it's going to be really good with them. Lively is going to really help him too.
Hurricane asks, if Jokic finishes top 3 seed but averages a triple-double, is that enough? I don't. To me, it honestly depends on what the other guys do, right? You've got voter fatigue, which is a thing. It's not as much of a thing as it's talked about, but it is a thing. I just think that the bigger problem, honestly, is if you look at historically, there's been, I think, 2 winners that were over the age of 30 in the last 25 years. They just don't win it. And the reason is because once you get to be 29, after you've won an MVP or you've been in that conversation, if you're good enough, you've shifted to trying to win the title. And you're not concerned about playing, you're not concerned about the regular season and putting up numbers and those kind of things. Jokic will be in the conversation. I think he'll always be in the conversation as long as he's healthy. I wouldn't be surprised at him finishing. Like, if you asked me what's his over-under on finish, I'd be like, probably 3.5.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want the under, but I think that his over-under probably needs to be 3.5, considering he's won the damn thing 3 times. So I don't even think that I know that Jokic doesn't go for it. He's got 3. He may be prideful about winning it more than he lets on. That's possible. But I also just think there's a good chance he doesn't play that many games. And let's say that he plays enough to qualify, but Luka plays like 75, 77.
Yeah.
I think that probably makes a difference here.
That's
where do you want to go next?
DPOY, I have Wemby getting it this year, a second-year player doing it. I also have him winning most improved player this year. I feel a little bit shaky about, because most improved you can go a whole bunch of different ways, and it feels kind of icky to give it to a second-year player. But I just think the trajectory he's on, he's going to put up some insane numbers this year, and everybody should be looking forward to watching it. So DPOY, Wemby.
Okay. I think that's insane, because how are they? I just can't see them getting to like a top 5 defense. They were 12th in the second half of.
They were second last year. He was second last year.
I know. I have a hard time believing they're actually going to give it to a guy if the team is only going to win like 35 games. I just have a hard time with it. For DPOY, I'm going to go with the same guy I always go with. It's Bam Adebayo. I'll just keep picking him until he wins one. To me, he's the best defender in the NBA in terms of actual value, in terms of what he brings to the table. He's rebounding better. His rebounds and stocks were up last season. He still wasn't rewarded. There's still all these things. I will say that if the Lakers were to win 47 plus games, Anthony Davis is going to win this award. Like, he just will. They want to give it to him. All right, let's do most improved player.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Wemby for that one, but I do think if I'm going to pick a Nuggets candidate here, Julian Strawther is a very great candidate too, because he might go from a guy who was playing 500 minutes to a guy who was absolutely essential to the Nuggets rotation and just breaking out. But that's not really what this award is about anymore. It is the next All-Star.
I just don't think the voters will ever vote for a second-year player. I think they'll vote for top 3 picks, which I think is weird. That's why Scotty Barnes might be the guy.
Yeah.
But they won't. They don't like doing that. They don't. And I understand why. It's like, you're supposed to get better in the second year.
Yeah.
My most improved player, there's always guys that I want to give it to, but I'm actually going to just kind of piggyback off my guys at Action who love this. It's Jalen Williams. J-Dub's in his 3rd season. He's set to have a huge jump. He could average 20 points per game this season for the Thunder for the 1 seed. That's probably enough to get him home. So I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Williams to win most improved player. Let's do 6-man.
Also, ball handling responsibility for J-Dub is going to be up with Giddy gone. 6-man, I've got Monk. I know he's the favorite right now. I think it makes a lot of sense. They're going to struggle, and they're going to need a burst of offense with Keon Ellis in the starting lineup. So I got to imagine that he'll get as many opportunities to score and play make and do those things as possible.
Dante DiVincenzo is mine. I think he's actually going to light it up off the bench for the Wolves. He'll fill in some games as a starter when Conley's out, but not enough to get him disqualified for the award. I like Dante DiVincenzo to continue his hot shooting and be 6-man of the year. Let's do rookie of the year. This one's a tough one.
This is a tough one. And you know what? I found myself coming back to Zachary Risachet. I know that seems awkward for a lot of people, and he may not be fully ready for this, but Atlanta, with the moves that they've made, I just think that they're going to want to prioritize giving the number 1 overall pick some time. And if he hits shots and plays the way that he did in preseason, he's going to have some impact there.
Yeah, I think Reece Shea is a little bit undervalued in the market. Like Reed Shepherd, I think is probably the best player in the draft.
Probably.
I think if you ask me that right now, I'm actually going to go with Stephon Castle. He looked to me awesome in preseason. I like the way that his game translates. I think that he'll have enough assists to Wemby, and he is muscly. Like he's a
Big
little
dude.
tank.
Yeah.
So Papa's already playing him to close games in preseason, getting him ready for that responsibility. That shows a heightened level, I think, of responsibility for where they think Castle's at. So I'll take Stephon Castle to win Rookie of the Year. How about Coach?
I've got Joe Mazzulla getting it this year. I think that there's a lot of reason for the NBA media to kind of pivot to him, especially if this 3-point revolution is coming the way that it is tonight. If there was any indication, he, I think, is a good shoo-in for that award.
Kenny Atkinson for the Cleveland Cavaliers takes over the Cavs. I think they're set to have a huge season.
Ooh,
okay. Atkinson not revolutionizes. Gets one of the things about Atkinson is he'll run a smarter system. He'll also get internal player improvement from veterans. Like Karis LeVert knows how to play under Kenny Atkinson and really thrived. Evan Mobley will benefit under Kenny Atkinson and he'll thrive. Some of the younger guys, I think that team could be really, really good. Now, I'm cautious just because I keep thinking the Cavs are going to be good, and then something happens, or better than they have been in previous seasons. They've been good, but I'll take Kenny Atkinson to win Coach of the Year. Do we go through all of them? Do we have any missed?
I think that's it. I think we did a pretty good job.
Not bad for 11 minutes. All right, up next, we're going to tell you who's going to win the title. Just you don't need to watch the NBA this season because Ryan and I are going to tell you who's going to win it. We'll do that next here on Locked On Nuggets. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You know what was fun? Betting the Boston Celtics minus 5.5 on opening night on FanDuel. Yeah. That was fun. That was an enjoyable time for me. Betting the over on Celtics Knicks. That was a good time for me. I am, as we're recording this on Tuesday night, I've got the under, which is looking good, in Lakers Wolves, but I did have the Wolves. I don't think they're going to get home, but I'll take a 3-1 night to start the season. You can bet futures. You can bet the Nuggets to win 50-plus games. You can bet them to win the division at a very tasty price. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Appreciate you guys being with us. No Jinx with you on a Tuesday night. This will be on Wednesday's show. Swipa will preview the game on Thursday afternoon, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll have a post-game episode on Thursday night. And then Swipe and Gripe will be Friday at 2 Eastern, 12 Mountain, noon Mountain is when we'll do Swipe and Gripe on Friday. That's like our new rotating schedule. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Ryan, I don't think we need to mess around with this. Just tell me who's winning the title, buddy. Who's doing it?
Matt, I am picking the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, you son of a... Stole my line. Go ahead.
So everybody here knows I've been a negative Nancy. I've been somebody who has really been frustrating to listen to at times as a Nuggets fan. You want the positivity. I've been giving you negative over the course of these past few weeks. I am going to choose to believe. I am going to choose to believe in Jamal Murray getting back. I am choosing to believe in Christian Braun starting. I wrote about him today over at Mile High Sports. His mentality for this, I think, is really good, and they'll figure it out. I am choosing to believe in the bench formula that has been assembled, or Calvin Booth figuring out what to do with the bench formula and finding a way to add to it during the regular season. And I choose to believe in Nikola Jokic being the best player in the world, getting it done, figuring out a way to bounce back, and understanding what it takes to maximize this window. I think that Jokic helps them get it done. I think Porter pulls through. And I think the Nuggets, at their best, are still the best team in the world.
Okay, so now I'm in so here's the problem. I went on a radio show this week on You Better You Bet, and they asked me, all right, just straight up, who's winning the title? Like, give me the finals matchup, East, West, and who's winning it. And I was like, I'll take Celtics over Knicks, or I'll take Nuggets over Knicks.
I said the same thing.
But we can't have both of us on a Nuggets podcast pick the Nuggets to win the title, Blackburn.
After being as negative as we have been for the past freaking week.
I can't believe you. God, this is worse than when you stole my question to Russ about the Russ Academy and snaked my ability to earn points with Russell Westbrook on his first day.
It really helps me in pressers, by the way. I just want to let you know.
I don't want to be I don't want to be duplicitous where it's like I said this over here and I'm not going to say it here. So I'll say Nuggets. And it can be like the headline can be Denver Nuggets podcasters pick Denver Nuggets to win title. And that's just what it's going to have to be. Look, my entire thing here is just, look, everyone talks about how stacked this Western Conference is. I really don't know. I really just don't know how good this Western Conference is. It's not that I don't think it's good. It's not that I don't think it's better than the East. I just don't look at this and go like, oh man, these teams are all so great. I'm like, no, there's some good teams. Like, I think the Suns are going to be really good. I think the Wolves are going to be really good even if they lose to the Lakers. I think the Thunder are going to be great. I think the Mavericks are going to be awesome. But like, I just don't see it as like this unbeatable gauntlet. Because if it's Mavericks Nuggets, I want the Nuggets. If it's Thunder Nuggets, I got to think about it. If it's Wolves Nuggets, it's probably right where we were last year, a game 7, right? Because it's like they lost Towns, the Nuggets lost KCP. Towns is better than KCP, but KCP was really important for the Nuggets. So I don't know. I'll probably take the Nuggets there. I took them versus the Wolves.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you go down the list of the Suns. I'll take the Nuggets. I'll take Jokic. I will take Jokic and Malone. Nobody will take that second part. Everyone just thinks it's Jokic, but like I will take Jokic and Malone over any other superstar and any other coach. I'll do it. I will take that combo. I know they can do it. They solve the problems. And so I think they've got a good chance to get there. And if they get there, if I could pick one team from the Western Conference to match up with Boston, who do I want? I want the Nuggets. If I could pick one team to match up with the Sixers, like the Sixers are the toughest matchup in the East for the Nuggets. But if you ask like who can actually go back at Embiid out of the Western Conference, it's maybe the Wolves and it's Denver. If it's Thunder Sixers, Embiid's going to score 50 points a game.
Yeah.
So I want the Nuggets. All these things, if it's the Knicks, oh good God, do I want the Nuggets? So I am left with no choice here, but like, yeah, am I down on Denver? Absolutely. I've bet on under 52.5 wins because that was what I opened up and that number was stupid. Now it's a little bit better. I think that they are probably better than the feeling about them is. I think they could be another 55 plus win team this season, but I do think it's very likely that maybe they struggle a little bit more, that they rest more, that they win fewer games. But when it comes down to 7 games, when it's a 7-game series, 48 minutes, your best guys versus my best guys, I will take Denver. So yeah, we're both in alignment. I'm really annoyed at you. I'm super annoyed at you for doing this. You've painted me into a homer corner. I was going to play the contrarian, but no, you had to be like, I'm pulling the plot twist.
As you may well know, that's something I'm pretty good at. So here's the other thing to bet on for the Nuggets specifically is that one of Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, or Julian Strawther just joins the starting 4 or like the core 4 guys. And that's their closing group that they can trust, that they can go with. We haven't seen Peyton Watson yet. I wonder if that's something that they can and will choose to go to. It probably won't be. That's probably going to be mostly Brown or Strawther. But I think the way that Julian has looked and the way that I know Michael Malone is going to run his rotations, even into the playoffs, I think this team is built pretty well for that, despite the fact that I've had some pessimism. I am not kidding you, man. Getting to see Jamal Murray go off against the Wolves really helped. It really helped. It was just like a nice little salve to put over the open wounds, making sure that you're healed up and ready to go and get back into that place where you needed to be, where Jamal Murray could help be that guy. Because that's really what it comes down to if we're talking about it. I just am going to choose to believe that Jamal Murray will come through and that last year was an aberration rather than the norm.
I will just continue to hammer this. Look, it's not that Jamal doesn't matter. I think when Jamal is locked in and he's in playoff Jamal mode, that's how you get that run, which I am blanking on right now. How many games did they lose in the 23 run?
4.
16-4. That's what you get when Jamal is locked in.
Yeah.
But even if Jamal is struggling again or just has an average playoff run, that's still probably 16-10.
Yeah.
It takes him being outright bad for them to lose in game 7 after being up 20. He wasn't bad in game 7. He was good in game 7. So we're both taking the Nuggets. I can't believe you got me in it, dude. Oh,
well, so here's the thing. What I read over at our good friends over at ESPN, 0 people picked the Nuggets to make the finals. 0 people. Only 3 people picked the Nuggets to even make the conference finals. At this point, it is more popular to pick the Suns to go to the conference finals than it is the Nuggets.
I like the Suns a lot.
Me too. And I think that they're going to be better. But I also think that they have holes. I think the Thunder are obviously the right pick for most people. But if you're talking matchups and you're talking best player take all, is Shea going to be able to do to the Nuggets what Jokic is going to do to the Thunder?
Yeah. Okay, but I think the count to defend them, the counter here, even though I'm taking Nuggets, the counter here is their margin for error is a lot higher. If a few things go wrong for Denver, they're screwed. And you would agree with me on that.
Yeah.
Like if they do not have a playoff run where things stay mostly pretty good, if they don't have they could have average luck, but if they have any bad luck whatsoever, they're not good enough to overcome it anymore. They can't just roll through it anyway. Versus the Thunder, Shea can sprain an ankle and it's well, they still won game 2. Jalen Williams had 30, and the Thunder played insane defense and hit 35 threes. So,
well, we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to call a little bit of BS on that initially until we see it.
Do you think the Thunder are? I'm going to nail this down because you're a slippery guy.
They're going to win 60 games.
Okay, but they can win 60 games, but we both know regular season is different. Do you think the Thunder are overrated?
No, I think they're properly rated. I think that they are a team that is currently the second best team in the NBA. I think that the Celtics are the best, the Thunder are the second best, and I think that what they have proven and what they will continue to prove in the regular season is very reasonable. What I will say is that when it going gets tough and they faced off against Luka Doncic and the Mavs in the second round last year, guys started missing shots that they were a little bit they were open shots. They were good shots. They were generating good looks and they missed them. Whether that happens this year or not, young team, I don't know. But I do think that the Nuggets, for as much flack as they got this last offseason, are just more battle tested than the Thunder still.
Well, speaking of more battle tested, they're going to battle on Thursday night. On the other side, we'll talk about the Nuggets' first game of the season at home versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll do that next here on Locked On Nuggets. My anniversary is coming up, so I got to get hockey tickets because the best way to celebrate the love of my life for 17 years is to take her somewhere where she drinks beer, curses, and throws up middle fingers at the officials. I swear to God, my very, very graceful, literature-loving wife turns into a raging psycho at Ball Arena when her beloved Avs are in play. And to get the best seats so that I can afford to pay her bail money, I have to go through Gametime because it is absolutely the best way to get tickets for shows, concerts, music, theater, all sorts of great stuff. Nightmare Before Christmas is at the Performing Arts Center this weekend. Lots of cool stuff going on in Denver always, and you can get the best tickets at Gametime. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You're going to get a panoramic view of your seat from wherever you're sitting, so you're going to know exactly the kind of view that you're going to get with your tickets. And they've got Gametime's ticket coverage. It's covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Make sure to check out youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. Hit the like and subscribe. Do that right now if you're watching on YouTube. Just take a second, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to us. Best way to support the show. Check out LockedOnDaily.com for our new newsletters. there'll be awesome stuff. So like I'm tinkering with the format for what I'm going to do on Thursday night. I'm so excited. Like I'll have quotes from the players, like my observations. I really feel I haven't done like gamer stuff in a long time, but I really feel like I'm going to be able to give you some really cool insights. Also, Ryan will do things. So there's lots of cool stuff to find at lockedondaily.com on the Nuggets newsletter. Locked On Nuggets.
I'm just going to pull crazy numbers. That's my goal for that, and maybe I'll share some insights from a practice or something. But for the most part, I'm going to try to throw off the reader a little bit. Be like, what in the world did he just say?
There you go. Well, that's always a good approach. Okay. So Nuggets open the season on Thursday night versus the Thunder, 8:00 game on TNT. It's the late game. Kicking off with a late game, Ryan. Nothing like starting off the season with a time warp that is the late games of Ball Arena. I'm not complaining. It's awesome to be able to cover these kind of games. It's going to be cool to be in the building for it. Thunder won the season series versus the Nuggets last year, thanks to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's. That was an awesome game. The comeback versus the Thunder pulled off. Thunder covered the two-man game about as well as anybody did last season in those late game stretches. That's going to be a really big point of emphasis for me.
Yeah.
Is they were able to cover it so well in terms of helping just enough to force the pass and then recovering back to not give up the gaps in coverage that the Nuggets want to create with the two-man game. So I'm going to be curious to see if there's any adjustments the Nuggets make on that. If we're looking at Thursday night, look, it's a season opener. Everybody's going to be rusty. Going to be some miscommunication. What's the biggest thing that you're going to be looking at in that game?
Yeah, I'm curious how the Thunder are going to start that game. I wonder, are they going to go double big? Are they going to play Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren together? It's something that they've done before against the Nuggets that they've had success with. Are they going to go small? Are they going to slide Jalen Williams, like wing Jalen Williams, J-Dub, to the 4 and then play 3 guards like Alex Caruso, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Lou Dort? I think that is a curious move that they could make as well. Either way, the Nuggets will have different attack points, different things that they're trying to do on both ends of the floor. If Denver has 2 bigs that they're guarding with, or that they're guarding against, then Jokic can probably guard Arkansas Jalen Williams, the big, while Aaron Gordon has Chet Holmgren. And if they're going small, then Joker's going to have to figure it out, because that is one thing the Thunder will do. They're going to space out Joker half to hell. So that's one thing I'm watching out for. How many contests does Joker make on the perimeter in a game like this? And are the Thunder just going to bomb threes like they did in the preseason? You're muted.
I don't know if J-Dub's going to play, not J-Dub, Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams. I'm not sure if he's available for this game or not. We'll have to see if he's on the injury report. I know he was banged up in preseason a little bit. That's going to be interesting with the bigs. But then again, it's DeAndre and Vlatko and Zeke. So, low bar here.
Dario, baby.
I will try not to overly index on the 3-point stuff in this game. If it's very glaring, then we'll all be commenting on it. You'll be able to see that from everybody. Like there's certain stats that we all find at the same time. Like, wow, Nuggets are getting outshot by 37 to whatever. I want to ask you something. So have you done like a rotation prediction on Pickaxe?
I have.
Okay.
I also did it on MHS. I have basically said that the Nuggets will go with a 9-man rotation, and the staggered starter will be Christian Brown.
Okay.
It will not be Jamal Murray. It will not be Michael Porter. It will not be any of the other guys. It will be Christian Brown.
With the second unit?
Yes.
You're saying that they're disconnecting Jamal from the second unit?
That would be the thing that I'm guessing. So they could flip it. They could flip those things. And
what leads you to believe this, sir?
Just what Malone was doing with the rotations in the regular season. He spent a lot of time playing Christian Brown with the bench guys specifically, like trying to starting him with the starters and then taking him out and bringing him back in with the second unit multiple times. And I don't think that was by accident. I honestly don't. It might be, but he never did it once with Jamal Murray. He never did it once with Michael Porter. Actually, he did it once with Michael Porter in the final game because he hadn't seen him play with Russell Westbrook at all. So I think it's going to be fascinating what he ultimately decides to do, but I think it's going to be 9. It will not be 10. Denver will really try to win this one, and they're going to cut it down.
Okay. That's always an interesting question, right? Like, what is his rotation on opening night? Because it's, prime time. Like, you send a message to OKC, like, hey, by the way, still us kiddos.
Yeah.
I could see Malone going for that. So Russ is coming in for Christian. I agree with you there. What's the minute mark on that, by the way? What minute did they do that sub?
It's been at the 5.5 minute mark in the first quarter kind of thing. It's pretty early, I'll say.
So I think it's Russ finishes the first half for CB. Jamal goes out.
First half or first quarter?
First quarter.
Okay.
Jamal goes out. When does Jamal usually exit?
If he is staggering, it will be relatively early, like at the 5 minute mark.
Okay. So I think I think that they might do that. I think they might sub Russ and Julian into that staggered end of first with the precious Jokic and bench minutes. And then I think Christian, because I think so here's the tough part. I think it'll be a healthy amount of Jamal and Russ. I don't think any of us are going to think that it's good, but I think that we're going to get a healthy amount of Jamal and Russ.
I think you're probably right.
And so I am expecting that. The interesting question here is going to be Porter and like him at the 4 stuff. That to me is like a really interesting question of like, where does that happen? How do they get that in there? Because one of the things I would really like to see too with the rotation, I just would like to see fewer minutes for Aaron. I think you can play Aaron. You don't have to give Aaron as many rest games. If you just don't I am always in favor of fewer games, more minutes. Aaron's the opposite, where I genuinely think play him 30 minutes, but get 30 great minutes from AG. And that way his shoulder doesn't pop out of socket and he's okay. Like that to me is like the more important thing. On the interesting stuff with the Thunder, I think too, Chet Holmgren and his ability to hold up versus Yoke. Like Yoke threw him around last year, but Chet did have that game where he almost had 10 blocks. He had 9 blocks in that game.
That was the Jalen Williams starting next to him, by the way. Jalen Williams.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to kind of see what that looks like. No Hartenstein for this one with his fractured hand. So that's a big boost for Denver. Is just not if Jokic gets Chet in foul trouble, that's it. Like it's over, baby.
So where does Denver's offense come from, do you think? Because I think that if, like, let's say the Thunder start small, like we kind of think that they will, I'm going to guess that Alex Caruso guards Murray and Lou Dort guards Porter. And then Shea is on Christian Brown kind of roaming everywhere. Where does Denver's offense come from? Or is it just going to be Joker trying to go 30, 20, 10?
It's a good question because I don't know. One of the things that I think OKC is really good at is OKC wants to they go the opposite of what everybody else does, which is we're going to play vanilla. We're not going to show you anything in the regular season. Dagenhalt's like, no, we're going to show you everything. Like you're going to see all of it. You're just not going to know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Like we might double you. We might not double you. Might not double you at all. Maybe we'll double you more. We're going to triple you. How about that? Like they're able to really kind of catch you off guard with the way that he coaches. I think that's pretty impressive. Honestly, I think I think the offense is going to have to come from realistically, like Porter is probably what my answer there. Like I want to say Jamal, but I'm just like, it's a bad matchup for him. Like this is also like a rough one for trying to get Jamal. I know Jamal needs to be like, he had that good game in the last game of the preseason, right? Like DEFCON went back up to 4. It's gonna be fine. Yep. But like, this is a really bad matchup for him. Cause it's like, even if Dort were to get in foul trouble, oh, well, good thing now only Alex Caruso comes in, so.
And like, if Shea is your worst perimeter defender in the starting lineup, then you're probably doing okay. So that's going to be tough. Denver's going to have to manage it. Porter, like this is a great game for him to step up because Lou Dort is a guy that has given him trouble. He doesn't really face Lou Dort all that much because that is the Murray assignment, but if they're playing smaller, or let's say Jalen Williams is the guy that he's going up against, J-Dub, he's got to cook that. He just has to. If he can't overwhelm somebody like Jalen Williams, then we're going to be having some interesting conversations once the playoffs come around.
On the other side, I assume that Porter's going to guard Dort, and they'll put AG, I guess, on J-Dub.
They'll probably flip that, or like it'll flip around based off of like they get cross matched so often that I'm not really worried about it too much. What I'm really worried about is Joker just having to guard Chet.
One of the things that was tough though was like Shea was really good about manipulating the switches. Like he would actually hunt. That is one of the things about OKC I will say is, again, unlike most teams are like, oh, we're not going to match up hunt in the regular season. It's the regular season. The Thunder absolutely match up hunt. Shea's going to try and get Jamal on him and then run pick and roll versus Joker. Like they want to put Jamal and Joker in that action, and they're going to keep doing it.
They're really good, and like they will probably give Denver a ton of issues. If Denver has to face them in the playoffs, it's going to be tough. I'm going to go ahead and predict that Denver loses opening night, and that's okay.
Okay. I don't have a prediction for the game. I really don't know. I want to see how it shakes out. All right. That's going to do it for Locked On Nuggets for a Wednesday for No Jinx. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to check out LockedOnDaily.com for the Locked On Nuggets newsletter. Catch Swipa on Thursday for previewing the game versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then we'll have a post-game show. And then we'll have Swipe and Gripe on Friday. Season's here, folks. Let's get after it. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you guys again next time on Locked On Nuggets.